It's impossible to imagine this wondrous place. And they did. Terra Australis, the great southern land. Australia is a continent and country. People dreamed this land, and the rugged land made these resilient people, made them open and yet mysterious. The modern nation is 200 years old, but people have been here at least 40,000 years. This is their story, through their eyes, down under. In Australia's dry interior, the outback, sheep seem wildly out of place here. But the human will can make anything happen in Australia, though it's always a struggle.
Jason Wingfield, the big tall fella down there.
Jason Wingfield pretends the struggle is just a game. In the tropical north, another power centre. Arthur Tamworth and Nicky Willis, the storehouses of culture. And if their knowledge is lost, so is the nation's soul and heart. Competition is good. It drives Australians to be better. And for Candice Falzon, competition means only one thing: winning. But when the opponent is nature herself, the outcome is always doubtful. Driving everything, the most powerful force, the tyranny of distance. The land stretches from warm tropical currents to the frigid waves coming up from Antarctica. Australia is larger than Europe, yet its population is 30 times smaller. Just 20 million people live here. Australia's story is directly linked to its landmass, the oldest on Earth. No volcanoes or earthquakes have shifted this land about for millions of years. Only the slow ticking of time itself has worn down these ancient mountains. It has leached away the soil nutrients and exposed hidden monoliths like Uluru. Isolated by ocean, most Australian plants and animals are unique to the world. There's more than 500,000 species that exist nowhere else. The Australian Aborigines preserve and protect the world's oldest living culture.
I feel 100,000 years old. I am the rock. I am the kangaroo. I am my forefathers before me.
For more than 40,000 years, Arthur Tamworth's forebears survived one of the world's harshest environments.
It's a harsh country, but you've got to see it for what it is, and you've got to become part of it. And my people over thousands of years, they've looked at the land as being a part of it.
To Arthur's Pitjantjatjara people, the land is a sacred gift from ancestors, celebrated in art, song and dance.
When I apply the paint, my spirit is in touch with Mother Nature. And when I dance, I am no longer me.
The kangaroo is sacred to Arthur. It's his dreaming. A ritual dance that expresses his past and present.
To be a kangaroo, you've got to let Mother Nature take over. She'll talk through you. She will give you the spirit of the kangaroo.
Such dreamings originally sang this world into existence. And now Arthur must present a dreaming story to some powerful tribal leaders. It's a huge responsibility and an ancient one. Australia's modern history is another story. On Australia Day, every January 26th, the nation celebrates its convict past. It's the anniversary of the settlement of Sydney Cove as a penal colony for British criminals. After 200 years, this giant prison yard is a modern, independent nation. 2 out of 3 Australians live in cities. It has one of the world's most urban populations. But they hug the coast, as if repelled by Australia's barren heart. More than 90% of the land is too dry for crops or towns. Most habitable land lies near the coast. Sydney is the largest of Australia's 8 state capitals. The demanding land soon tamed its convict colonials, and in time, they learned to make the place prosper. Australia now has one of the world's highest standards of living. 4 out of 5 Australians live within a half-hour drive of the ocean. They can choose from 11,000 beaches. That's the way it is with Aussie culture. Just add water.
I think because we're surrounded by the water and we have amazing beaches, everyone just loves to go to the beach, everyone loves to cool off in summer, and I think that contributes to why Australians love the water so much.
Candice Falzon saves lives. Bondi Beach near Sydney is her beat. She's part of a century-old corps that has saved 500,000 lives.
Probably in my lifetime I've rescued about 10 people. I try to prevent it sort of happening rather than having to go out and make the rescue, but if a rescue sort of situation comes up, I'm usually the first one out there, you know, trying to do my bit and bring them back to life and bring them back into shore safely.
By age 12, Candice knew she would be a swimmer. In Australia, swimmers rule.
It's just the most amazing feeling when you're one with the water. I feel like a mermaid. Without the ocean, I don't think I could survive.
The National Surf Lifesaving Championships is the Super Bowl of aquatics. 7,500 contestants. Australians have a fire to compete.
Righto, boys, let's go.
Extreme rowing, the toughest marine sport. 5 crew, 500 teams, and the pounding surf. It's brute strength versus brute nature. Candice wants to be the Iron Woman champion. She's learning from these gladiators. The rips, the frequency of waves, it will give her the edge when it's her turn to play. Candice races 3 stages: swim, board, and ski. Is this the day that dreams die? Candice has a grueling challenge, a 130-yard swim through the surf and back, and straight back out on the circuit paddling a rescue board, and finally, a third time rowing with the surf ski. Ahead after the first two legs, Candice leaves her board and takes up the ski. For some of the boats, however, they're done. That's the way it is in these great Aussie contests. The winner is off in the sea. Bursting from the surf, Candice is a mere 30 seconds from her dream. Not to be. She finishes 10th.
I put my heart and soul into everything, so when I don't win, it's a little bit disappointing. It tells you where you're at, and you go back to training, and you're even a bit more hungrier to win next time.
For Candice Falzon, any failure is temporary. It's an Australian trait. The sea will never beat them, and neither, for that matter, will the land. It confuses outsiders. Quite frankly, it confuses insiders. Sometimes it takes a whole afternoon to play. And it breaks all the common rules of football. It is the nation's favourite sport. Australian rules. Played in a giant oval with 2 goals at each end. But in this competitive land, nothing is too bizarre or outlandish that it can't be turned into a game. Australia's dead centre, the isolated town of Alice Springs. Here, even history can be rigged up into a game. This time it's camels. Camels were introduced to the outback as a means of transporting explorers in the 19th century. Neil Waters is the camel wrangler here, and he's got his hands full.
When you got 20 or 30 camels in a yard, it's like having a schoolyard full of kids. You know, there are lots of different characters and lots of different personalities.
The Camel Cup reveres history, but the Kentucky Derby, it's not. Here in the outback, they dress up and let her rip. Vikings, Arabs, cowgirls, well, camel girls, anything goes out here, even a wedding.
We just wanted a Central Australian experience and found out the Camel Cup was on this time of year, so how can you miss that?
Make sure you've got your draw numbers.
So how do you prepare to ride an animal that kicks, bucks and spits?
Bash my head against the pole for a while and slap my face around and take a few red pills and yellow pills and stuff like that.
They look scruffy, camels. Not at all thoroughbreds. And they've a mind of their own.